Too often, we fall into the trap of thinking we have to be flawless to succeed. And that's simply not true. Perfection is a myth that keeps us stuck, paralyzed by the idea that we need to have everything figured out before we even start. But here's the truth: no one has it all figured out. Even the most successful people began with doubts, insecurities, and imperfections. The key is that they didn't let these stop them. They chose to trust in their potential, knowing that they would grow, adapt, and improve over time. Believing in your potential means seeing yourself as a work in progress, not a finished product. It's about recognizing that growth is an ongoing journey. When you believe in your potential, you're giving yourself permission to try, to stumble, to get back up, and to keep going. Every time you face a challenge or a setback, you're building resilience and learning valuable lessons. Potential is not about where you are right now, but about where you're capable of going, and that's limitless. Now, you might wonder, how do you start believing in your potential when you're surrounded by moments of self-doubt? Begin by celebrating small wins. Every achievement, no matter how small, is proof of your potential. These little victories are stepping stones, each one reinforcing that you have what it takes to achieve your dreams. Write them down, remember them, and let them serve as reminders of how far you've come. Another powerful way to believe in your potential is to see failure as feedback, not as a verdict on your abilities. When you shift your mindset to view mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow, you become unstoppable. Each failure is just a chapter, not the entire story. When you focus on your potential, you're acknowledging that your journey is filled with endless opportunities for improvement, for discovery, and for becoming even better than you were before. Also, surround yourself with people who see your potential. Seek out mentors, friends, and colleagues who support you and remind you of your strengths when you forget. Sometimes it's the encouragement and belief of others that helps us see what we're capable of. Let their confidence in you reinforce your confidence in yourself. We all need people who inspire us to stretch, who push us to try new things, and who remind us that we're capable of more than we think. Finally, trust that your potential is unique to you. You don't need to follow someone else's path or meet their expectations. Your potential is about realizing your strengths, your values, and your passions. You have a unique combination of talents, experiences, and perspectives that no one else has. Embrace that individuality because it's the foundation of your potential. Believing in your potential over perfection is a mindset that frees you to show up, take risks, and give yourself room to grow. It's about building faith in your ability to move forward, one step at a time. So remember, every day is an opportunity to unlock a little more of that potential. Embrace your journey, trust in your growth, and know that you are capable of extraordinary things not because you're perfect, but because you're growing into the best version of yourself. When life pushes us, our fears often shout the loudest, drowning out our inner sense of what really matters. Fear has a way of shrinking our world, keeping us confined within the boundaries of what feels safe and familiar. But standing in your values, those core beliefs that define who you are and what you stand for, can give you the courage to step beyond fear. When you're grounded in your values, you become unshakable, even in the face of uncertainty, criticism, or setbacks. Your values become a compass, pointing you in the direction of purpose and resilience, regardless of where fear tries to lead you. Standing in your values requires that you know what they are. This is often a step we overlook, but it's essential to spend time reflecting on what truly matters to you. Think about the principles you hold dear, the ones that feel non-negotiable. Maybe it's honesty, kindness, growth, or justice. Whatever they are, take time to name them, define them, and let them become the foundation of who you are. Because when life throws challenges your way, it's those values that will remind you who you are and what you're here to do. Now, why is it so important to live by values instead of fears? Fear has a way of keeping us small. It's a survival mechanism, yes, but it's not meant to guide our lives. When fear drives our decisions, we tend to avoid taking risks. We settle for less than we're capable of, and we end up feeling stuck, wondering what could have been if we'd only dared to trust ourselves. But values are empowering. They encourage us to act in ways that reflect our highest intentions, leading us toward growth, fulfillment, and purpose. Standing in your values means leading with integrity, even when it's hard or uncomfortable. For example, if one of your core values is honesty, there will be moments when you're called to be truthful, even if it risks conflict or disappointment. But by choosing honesty over fear, you're honoring your commitment to who you are. The more you practice aligning your actions with your values, the stronger you become. Fear begins to lose its hold on you, and you build confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Another powerful aspect of standing in your values is that it helps you navigate tough decisions. Life is filled with moments of choice, and sometimes those choices aren't easy. When you're unsure of what to do, return to your values. Ask yourself what choice honors my beliefs. What aligns with who I am and who I want to become. Your values provide clarity in moments of doubt, serving as an anchor that keeps you grounded and focused on what truly matters. They help you say no when you need to set boundaries and yes when it's time to embrace new opportunities. Living from your values also builds trust not only with others but with yourself. When people see that you stand by what you believe in, they respect you and they're more likely to trust your word. More importantly, you learn to trust yourself. Every time you choose your values over your fears, you're reinforcing your inner strength. You're telling yourself, I am committed to living a life that's true to who I am. This self-trust is powerful. It's what allows you to show up authentically, even when it's difficult. Lastly, standing in your values creates a ripple effect. When you live with integrity, you inspire others to do the same. You become a model of courage, showing those around you what it means to live a life that's aligned with purpose rather than fear. Whether it's your family, friends, or colleagues, your example can encourage others to reflect on their own values and choose to live by them as well. Your courage can spark courage in others, creating a cycle of authenticity and empowerment. So remember, when fear tries to lead, turn back to your values. They are your true north, the unchanging principles that guide you even when life feels uncertain. By standing in your values, you're not only overcoming fear, you're stepping into your full strength, living a life that honors who you are at your core. Let your values be your foundation and trust that they will lead you exactly where you're meant to go. Our natural tendency is to seek comfort. It feels safe, familiar, and predictable. But growth, fulfillment, and purpose are rarely found within our comfort zones. They exist on the other side, where courage steps in. Courage is the willingness to move forward despite fear, uncertainty, or discomfort. It's choosing action over hesitation, and it's essential for a meaningful, impactful life. When we choose courage over comfort, we open the door to experiences that transform us, shape our character, and unlock our potential in ways that comfort alone never could. Choosing courage over comfort doesn't mean living without fear. It means acting with fear, learning to manage it, and move forward anyway. Fear will always be part of our journey. It's a natural human response. But courage is what keeps us from letting fear control our decisions. Every time we step out in courage, we expand our understanding of what we're capable of, and we become less willing to settle for less than our best. One of the first steps in cultivating courage is to recognize and embrace discomfort as part of growth. Discomfort isn't something to avoid. It's a sign that you're pushing past limitations, moving into new territory, and challenging yourself to grow. Instead of avoiding discomfort, start viewing it as an opportunity. Ask yourself, what is this discomfort trying to teach me? By reframing discomfort, you can begin to see it as a necessary and valuable part of achieving something greater. Another key aspect of cultivating courage is to take small, consistent actions that challenge your comfort zone. Courage doesn't have to mean taking massive risks all at once. Start with small steps, having that difficult conversation, signing up for a new experience, or sharing an idea you believe in. Each small act of courage builds on the last, creating a foundation of confidence that allows you to face bigger challenges over time. The more you practice these small acts of courage, the more resilient you become, and the easier it is to step into larger, more daunting situations. Courage over comfort also means accepting the possibility of failure as part of the process. When we let go of the need to always succeed, we free ourselves to take risks that we might otherwise avoid. Failure is not a reflection of our worth. It's a learning experience that brings us closer to our goals. People who choose courage over comfort are willing to face setbacks because they know that every attempt, whether successful or not, is moving them forward. They understand that the greatest lessons often come from what didn't go as planned. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage and inspire you can make choosing courage over comfort easier. Seek out those who are also pushing their limits and willing to take risks. They'll remind you of what's possible and encourage you when you're tempted to settle back into what feels safe. Sometimes it's the support and belief of others that fuels our courage when we're feeling uncertain. With the right people by your side, you'll feel more empowered to keep stepping out of your comfort zone. Practicing courage also means learning to listen to your inner voice, the one that nudges you toward growth, even when fear tries to talk you out of it. Often we know deep down what we want or need to do, but fear convinces us to ignore it. By tuning into your intuition and honoring what feels right for you, you're embracing the courage to live authentically. Listen to that inner voice that says you can do this even when fear tries to drown it out. Let it guide you because it knows what you're capable of, even when you doubt yourself. Finally, choosing courage over comfort is about realizing that life is too short to be lived half-heartedly. We're here to experience, to learn, to connect, and to create something meaningful. Staying comfortable might feel safe, but it won't bring you the sense of accomplishment, purpose, or fulfillment that you're capable of achieving. Courage invites you to live fully, to embrace both the highs and lows, and to create a life that reflects your highest potential. So when you're faced with a choice between courage and comfort, remember that comfort keeps you where you are, but courage takes you where you want to be. Every act of courage, big or small, is a declaration that you're committed to growth and willing to honor the dreams that are within you. Let courage be the compass that guides you to a life of purpose, meaning, and boundless possibilities. Because in the end, the most fulfilling life isn't the one lived safely within the lines, it's the one shaped by courageous choices and a heart unafraid to truly live. One of the hardest things we can do is to be gentle with ourselves. We are often our own harshest critics, quick to judge ourselves for every misstep, flaw, or failure. But self-judgment doesn't drive growth, it limits us. Self-compassion, on the other hand, creates a foundation of kindness and understanding that fuels resilience, courage, and inner peace. Embracing self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same care and empathy that we would offer a close friend. It's the conscious choice to say, I'm human. And that's okay. When we replace self-judgment with self-compassion, we unlock our potential and allow ourselves to grow in a safe, nurturing environment. Self-compassion starts with recognizing that mistakes and setbacks are part of the human experience. None of us are perfect. We're all learning, evolving, and growing. When we judge ourselves harshly, we hold ourselves to an impossible standard that no one can meet. Self-compassion allows us to see these experiences as opportunities for growth rather than proof of failure. Instead of saying, I should have done better, self-compassion says, I'm learning, and that's enough. One way to practice self-compassion is to become aware of your inner dialogue. Pay attention to the way you speak to yourself, especially when things don't go as planned. Would you speak to a friend that way? If the answer is no, then it's time to reframe those thoughts. Replace harsh criticism with gentle encouragement, and remind yourself that growth comes through kindness, not cruelty. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you care deeply about, offering understanding and support. Self-compassion also means allowing yourself to rest and take care of your needs without guilt. In a culture that glorifies hustle and productivity, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind if you're not constantly achieving. But self-compassion reminds us that rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Taking time to recharge isn't a sign of weakness, it's an act of self-love. It's saying, I value myself enough to take care of my well-being. Embracing self-compassion allows you to recognize that you're worthy of care, even when you're not at your best. Another powerful way to practice self-compassion is to accept your emotions without judgment. We often think we should only feel positive emotions, but all feelings are part of the human experience. When you're feeling sad, frustrated, or anxious, acknowledge those emotions instead of pushing them away or criticizing yourself for having them. Self-compassion means allowing yourself to feel without labeling those feelings as bad or wrong. It's saying it's okay to feel this way. By allowing yourself to fully experience your emotions, you're honoring your humanity and giving yourself space to heal and grow. Practicing self-compassion also involves embracing vulnerability. To be compassionate toward ourselves, we have to accept that we're not invincible, that we have insecurities, fears, and moments of weakness. This acceptance doesn't make us weak, it makes us real. Self-compassion encourages us to take off the mask and be authentic with ourselves. When we embrace our vulnerabilities, we open ourselves to deeper self-awareness and understanding. We realize that our worth isn't tied to being flawless, but to being honest and genuine. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift you is another form of self-compassion. It's about creating an environment where you feel valued, supported, and encouraged to be your true self. Choose relationships that bring out the best in you and encourage self-compassion, rather than self-criticism. And remember, it's okay to distance yourself from situations or people that make you feel unworthy. Protecting your peace and prioritizing relationships that nurture you is an act of self-respect. Finally, self-compassion is a lifelong practice. There will be days when self-judgment creeps back in, when old habits of self-criticism resurface. On those days, remember that self-compassion doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay to struggle with it. What matters is that you keep returning to it. Be patient with yourself and remind yourself that self-compassion is a journey, not a destination. Every time you choose to be kind to yourself, you're reinforcing a new way of being, one that honors your humanity and values your well-being. In embracing self-compassion, you're making a commitment to be your own ally rather than your own enemy. Self-compassion allows you to live with greater joy, resilience, and peace. It frees you from the chains of self-doubt and opens the door to self-acceptance and inner strength. When you let go of self-judgment, you create space for growth, healing, and genuine self-love. So choose self-compassion today and remind yourself that you're worthy of kindness, understanding, and care just as you are. In a world where likes, applause, and validation seem to define our worth, it's easy to fall into the trap of living for approval. But approval seeking can keep us from pursuing our true calling, limiting us to what's popular or acceptable in others' eyes. A purpose-driven life, on the other hand, is anchored in a deeper mission, one that goes beyond external validation. Being purpose-driven means living with intention, focusing on what truly matters to you, and letting your actions reflect your core values and passions. It's about pursuing a life that feels right, not one that simply looks right. When you're purpose-driven, you're fueled by a sense of meaning and direction that isn't easily swayed by outside opinions. Instead of asking, "What will others think?" you start asking, "How does this align with my purpose? Does this choice bring me closer to my values, my dreams, and the impact I want to make?" Living for a purpose requires courage because it often means stepping away from the crowd and forging your own path. But it also brings a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that you're living in alignment with what's truly important to you. A purpose-driven mindset requires clarity about what you want to contribute to the world. It involves reflecting on what you're passionate about, what unique strengths you bring, and how you can make a difference. Take time to ask yourself, what gives me a sense of meaning? What impact do I want to have on the people and causes I care about? These questions help you understand what your life's work is truly about, allowing you to focus on the pursuits that feel most genuine and significant to you. With a clear sense of purpose, you can make choices based on your own convictions rather than the opinions of others. One powerful aspect of being purpose-driven is that it frees you from the endless cycle of comparison. When you're approval-driven, it's easy to measure your worth based on how you stack up against others, what they're achieving, how they're being recognized, and how you compare. But comparison is a thief of joy and fulfillment. A purpose-driven life, however, is one where you're focused on your own journey, not someone else's. You realize that your purpose is unique and you don't need to fit a mold or follow a script. Your path is yours to create, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Being purpose-driven also means accepting that not everyone will understand or support your choices, and that's okay. Pursuing a meaningful life sometimes requires going against the grain or making decisions that seem unconventional. Approval-driven people may struggle with this, worrying about being judged or misunderstood. But when you're grounded in your purpose, you can handle the fact that some people won't get it. You're not living to meet their expectations, you're living to honor your calling. With purpose as your guide, you become less dependent on validation from others and more focused on fulfilling the goals and values that matter to you. Purpose-driven people are resilient because their motivation comes from within. Approval is fleeting and often inconsistent. It can disappear as quickly as it comes. Purpose, however, is stable. It's the foundation that keeps you steady when challenges arise. When you face obstacles or setbacks, purpose gives you the strength to keep going, because you know that what you're working toward is bigger than momentary praise. Purpose fuels you with a sense of persistence and resilience that allows you to stay committed even when the journey gets tough. Another benefit of being purpose-driven is that it creates genuine connections. When you're focused on approval, interactions can feel surface level, as if you're only trying to impress or gain favor. But when you're purpose-driven, you naturally attract people who resonate with your values, your vision, and your authenticity. Relationships become deeper and more meaningful because they're built on shared principles and mutual respect, not just on pleasing or impressing each other. Purpose-driven people draw others toward them who believe in their mission and support their journey. creating a community of like-minded individuals who uplift and encourage one another. Letting go of approval seeking also allows you to take risks, experiment, and embrace failure as part of the process. When your primary goal is to receive approval, you're likely to play it safe, avoiding anything that could lead to criticism or disappointment. But a purpose-driven person understands that failure is a stepping stone, not a dead end. They take risks in the pursuit of what matters to them, knowing that mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. Their focus is on progress, not perfection, because they're driven by a mission, not by others' perceptions. Lastly, being purpose-driven leads to a life of authenticity and fulfillment. When you live for approval, there's always a part of you that's hiding, pretending, or adapting to fit others' expectations. But a purpose-driven life is a life where you show up as your true self, where you're not afraid to let your uniqueness shine. You're able to live with authenticity because you're not seeking validation, you're honoring your journey and trusting that you are enough just as you are. Living for your purpose allows you to experience joy and satisfaction that come from within, independent of outside applause. So when you feel the pull to seek approval, remember that you have a choice. You can live a life shaped by others' expectations, or you can live a life guided by a purpose that speaks to your heart. The first path may bring temporary acceptance, but only the second path brings true fulfillment. By choosing to be purpose-driven, you're not just chasing after success, you're creating a legacy, a life that reflects your deepest values and aspirations. And that is far more rewarding than any applause or external validation could ever be.
Thank you.